You just drove 2 miles. You saved gas. You kept the mileage low. You were responsible. And somewhere inside that engine, something just got a little worse. Most people think keeping a car alive is simple. Drive less, save money, intuitive, clean, responsible. But the surface is exactly where this idea falls apart, because your car was not built to sit still. It was not built for the quick grocery run. It was not built for the 2-mile commute, 5 days a week, 12 months a year. It was built to run. And when it doesn't, it starts to die in ways the odometer will never tell you. This is the story of a hidden cost, one that hides inside a habit that looks completely responsible, one that has nothing to do with how far you drive. It has everything to do with how short. Before we go any further, meet Angie. She feeds on the money you lose, not by stealing it, not by tricking anyone. She simply shows up wherever money is already leaking and feeds on it. Today, short trips are serving her breakfast. Now, let's start with someone. Call him David. David is a reasonable person. He doesn't make reckless financial decisions. He doesn't buy things he can't afford. He bought a practical car, maintains it, and treats it well. In fact, that's kind of the point. David lives 2 miles from work. He does a 1-mile grocery run a few times a week, drops his kids at school, short trips, all of them. By the end of the year, his odometer reads around 5,000 or 6,000 miles. Most cars hit 10 or 12,000 in the same period. David feels good about this. Low mileage, low wear. Right? David isn't saving his car. He's aging it in a way that mileage doesn't measure, and dashboards don't show. Angie loves mistakes like this because they never feel like mistakes.
Mine.
Over 10 years, David's driving habit is going to cost him roughly $9,000. Let's begin with the cold engine problem. This is something they don't put on the window sticker. The single most damaging thing you can do to an engine is start it cold. Not crash it, not rev it hard. Start it cold. When an engine is cold, the oil is thick. It moves slowly. In those first few minutes after startup, lubrication is at its absolute worst. Metal is pressing against metal without proper protection. Engineers designed engines to reach what's called operating temperature before any real demands are placed on them. Most vehicles reach that temperature somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes of driving. David's trips are 2 miles. At city speeds, that's about 5 minutes. He's putting his engine through its most vulnerable phase, parking it before that phase ends, and repeating the whole thing the next morning.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Think about it this way. A person making 10 2-mile trips puts more wear on their engine than someone making one 20-mile drive. The mileage looks better, but the wear is worse. Without realizing it, David feeds Angie every single morning. Now let's talk about fuel. Most people measure efficiency as miles per gallon. Simple enough. But that number shifts completely depending on how you're driving. When an engine is cold, it runs what is called a rich mixture. More fuel, less efficiency. The car burns extra to compensate for the fact that it hasn't warmed up yet. Suppose David's car gets 30 miles per gallon on a warm, steady drive. On short, cold trips, that same car averages closer to 20. A third of his efficiency, gone. Now run the numbers. 6,000 miles at 30 miles per gallon is 200 gallons. At $4 a gallon, $800 a year. 6,000 miles at 20 miles per gallon is 300 gallons. Same roads, same distance. $1,200. $400 more every year. Just from cold start inefficiency, over 10 years, that's $4,000. He's not driving more miles, he's spending more money. And the odometer looks perfectly clean. Angie doesn't care about the odometer. She only tracks where the money goes. What about the battery? Every time you start a car, you drain the battery. The starter pulls a large burst of electricity to crank the engine. Once running, the alternator replenishes that charge as you drive. The cycle stays healthy. Short trips quietly break that cycle. 5 minutes of driving barely gives the alternator enough time to replace what starting the engine just consumed. Day after day, week after week, the battery runs a slow, invisible energy deficit. It weakens earlier than anyone expects. A battery that should last 5 or 6 years may only survive 3 or 4. Replacement and installation runs around $250. Under normal driving, David replaces his battery twice in 12 years. $500. Under constant short-trip driving, he replaces it 4 times. $1,000. $500 that quietly found its way to Angie. The warning signs seem harmless. The car cranks a little slowly one morning, then it needs a jump. Then the battery warning light. David blames the battery. He never blames the 2-mile commute. Why would he? This next problem is slower, quieter, almost completely invisible. Every time fuel burns inside an engine, combustion produces water vapor. On a fully warmed engine, that heat evaporates the moisture before it causes any damage. Short trips never give the engine enough time. The moisture stays. Some of it mixes into the engine oil. Some settles inside the exhaust system. It contaminates the oil, encourages internal corrosion, and reduces the oil's ability to protect the very components it's supposed to guard. The damage is cumulative, invisible, and relentless. Cold climates make this even worse as engines take longer to warm. Condensation forms more easily while moisture lingers longer. The exhaust suffers too. A hot exhaust dries itself out. A constantly cold exhaust stays damp. Rust forms from the inside out. Years later, the muffler fails. The pipe needs replacing. The repair bill arrives. Anywhere from $800 to $2,000. Call it $1,200. Modern engines, especially those with direct fuel injection, carry another vulnerability: carbon deposits. During sustained highway driving, high operating temperatures burn away much of this buildup naturally. David's engine almost never gets there. The deposits accumulate instead. The symptoms barely announce themselves. A rough idle, a slight hesitation when accelerating, fuel economy that drifts quietly downward. Nothing dramatic. Until the mechanic recommends an intake valve cleaning or a fuel system service. Depending on the vehicle, that runs anywhere from $300 to $1,000. Call it $600. Now let's talk about the starter. The starter motor never gets much attention until it stops working. Its job is simple: turn the engine over so combustion can begin. Like every mechanical component, it's built for a finite number of cycles. Every engine start counts, every single one. Compare 2 drivers. One makes a single 20-mile drive. The other makes 5 separate 4-mile trips. Same total distance, 4 extra engine starts every day. That's roughly 1,000 additional starts every single year. The odometer never records them, but the starter motor counts everyone. Eventually, it wears out ahead of schedule. Starter replacement costs between $500 and $1,000. Let's estimate $700. Another quiet expense, another invisible cost. David still believes he's being responsible. What he doesn't see is Angie quietly feeding every time he drives less. Now let's put everything on the table. Fuel inefficiency over 10 years, $4,000. Early battery replacements, $500. Premature exhaust repairs, $1,200. Carbon cleaning, $600. Starter replacement, $700. Additional engine wear, reduced lifespan, lower resale value, $2,000. A total of $9,000 over 10 years, from driving less. David never made a reckless decision. He didn't buy a bad car. He didn't skip oil changes. He didn't abuse the engine. He simply drove short distances every day. And the costs were so small, so spread out across years, that they were essentially invisible. That's what makes this a true money pitfall. It didn't announce itself, it just quietly fed Angie. There's a belief almost every driver has absorbed. Low mileage means low wear. Low wear means higher value. It's on dealership listings, used car ads, word of mouth, and to a point it's true, but it doesn't reveal how those miles were made. A vehicle that spent years making constant short trips carries a history the odometer never records. Internal moisture, battery stress, cold start wear, carbon accumulation, early exhaust deterioration. The low mileage isn't a lie, It's simply not telling the full story.
Oh, low mileage.
Meanwhile, another driver commutes 25 miles each way. The engine reaches operating temperature every single day. Oil flows correctly. Moisture evaporates. The battery fully recharges. The exhaust dries itself. Mechanically, this car is in better shape. Mileage alone is not the metric. Temperature is time spent at operating temperature. That's the number the odometer never shows. And that's exactly why Angie loves a low mileage listing. Now let's step back for a moment. David isn't unusual. David is most people. The average car trip in the United States is under 10 miles. Short trips are not the exception. They are the norm. Millions of engines start cold every morning. Never fully warm up. Quietly accumulate wear that their owners never notice. Millions of people spend more on fuel than they should. They replace batteries early, repair exhaust systems, and wonder why their low-mileage car costs so much to own. Imagine how much Angie is feeding on every single year. The automotive industry understands this. Engineers understand it. Mechanics understand it. That's why your owner's manual almost certainly contains 2 maintenance schedules, one for normal driving and one labeled severe service. Most drivers assume severe means towing heavy loads or off-roading through deserts. Often it simply means frequent short trips, the kind David makes every single day. Most drivers never read that page. Every problem we've covered today has one thing in common. It's preventable, and most of the fixes don't cost a single dollar. They require only a small shift in how you think about your trips. Start with the simplest one. Consolidate your errands. The grocery store, the pharmacy, the bank. Done separately, those are 3 cold starts. Done together in one trip, they're 1. The engine warms properly. The alternator fully recharges the battery. Moisture begins to evaporate. The exhaust dries. 1 cold start instead of 3. Across an entire year, that adds up.
Where did they go? That's not fair.
Next, occasionally give your vehicle a longer drive. Not because you have somewhere to go, but because your engine needs it. 20 to 30 minutes at highway or steady speeds is usually enough for the entire system to fully reach operating temperature. The engine gets hot enough to evaporate accumulated moisture. The battery fully recharges. Carbon deposits begin to burn away. The exhaust dries itself out. Everything finally operates the way it was designed. Then there's the most obvious solution. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your car is leave it parked. Walking half a mile to the coffee shop. Cycling to the neighborhood store. That's not just better for your health. It's a cold start that never happened. No battery drain. No cold engine wear. No extra fuel burned. And no feeding for Angie. Finally, match your maintenance to how you actually drive. Short-trip vehicles often need oil changes based on time, not just mileage. Because the oil is aging and contaminating even when the odometer barely moves. Your owner's manual already tells you this in the severe service section. Most people skip straight past it. Reading it could save you years of unnecessary wear and thousands of dollars that would otherwise quietly vanish. The financial world spends enormous energy on the obvious decisions. The car you buy, the loan you take, the insurance you pick. Yes, those decisions matter, but the most expensive financial mistakes often don't happen when you buy something. They happen quietly. Inside ordinary habits, repeated every single day, building for years before anyone notices. Because now you know the pitfall. Angie will not feed on your money. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe. Until next time, don't feed Angie.